I have two spoken word poems. The first one was one that I did at the word show a couple weeks ago. But when I performed it at the show, I was like lying down on the stage, and there was like this flickering red light bulb above my heart, and it represented a heartbeat. But I don't have that, so just you can imagine that. They were 20 years old when it happened. A gunshot orchestra of ending lives simmering into a solitude of blood splashing through city streets. Waves of nameless bodies washing in through television sets and into the eyes of faraway family. A mother falls to her knees at the sight of her children picked clean like debris off the crimson streets. This is her heartbeat. This is my country. This is the soil where a billion people planted their family trees. This is the past of me. I lie here in this ruin of a square with the ghosts of 1,000 bodies, our hearts still flickering, but not yet dead. In 1989, the government painted the Beijing streets red, a soft river of scholarly blood overflowing into a deafening crescendo of 10,000 simultaneous tank and gunshot wounds. An instant of fire and a generation of protesting college students take their final breath. Later that year, my Chinese father takes his first breath in a safe country overseas. He attends the University of Toronto for free, or perhaps with a scholarship paid with the currency of international sympathy. Entering the American first grade, I did not know then the taste of an ideal education I wasn't born to have. One morning recess, another student points a water gun at my chest. Shot dead, the wet stain would fade away in minutes, but the sound will enter my bloodstream, tunnel down the roots of my family tree, and land on the bloody portrait the government's army painted on their own city streets. But can't you see? This painting is a portrait of me. A portrait of 100,000 injured, 200 dead, 500 dead, 300, 1,000 dead, 7,000 dead. No one really knows. A portrait of Chinese American ancestry spilled on the canvas of her mother country. We will lie here together. We were 20 years old when it happened. We placed the Statue of Liberty at the center of our country's heart. For 5 days, she stood up, overlooking a sea of 100,000 men, women, children, united as one. Then a tank's first flame sears the torch from her hands, her body quickly reduced to rubble at her feet. But still, we marched onwards with hearts aflame, held each other's hands so tight that even when the students next to us were bayoneted to the ground, we kept marching on, using the blades of our voices to carve a canyon to the other side of the world, with a ladder stretching from the center of our souls. When they fired a column of tanks and prepared to aim, we stepped in front and formed a barricade. When they pulverized our potential into powder, we used the dust of our own bodies to build a bunker to protect the children who will come after. And they can try 1,000 times with their loaded guns and rushing tanks to rip the stems from our country's memory, erase the names of the dead from the pages of history, but they will never beat the love out of us. Our voices can only resurface above the steam of our country's body as we embrace her broken bones with our lips to calm her from throbbing back and forth in shame at the denial of it all. A mother can never unlearn the day her own sons and daughters faded away into smoke on the screen of a television set. A country can never unlearn the day she saw her own children use their bodies as barricades to defend their dreams of what democracy should be. This country is still trying to tie all the broken pieces of herself back together the same way I am trying to tie the pieces of my past into one. Look at that gun. Look at that sun. Look at that gun. When it fired, 100,000 protesters' hearts liquefied into an oil to burn a torch as bright as the sun. Look at the sky. We are birds in her palms, lit up forever with an onrush of red. This poem is called Yellow Bundle, and I wrote it like last spring. In the middle of a Providence winter, we discovered an enormous bundle of yellow yarn in the middle of an empty street. You picked it up and gave it to me as a gift. I wanted to weave it into a blanket and wrap it around our shivering bodies. We were so cold that winter. Every night, I brushed the snowflakes out of your hair as they melted into bed with us. You told me my backside was the night sky and the acne scars glowed like planets in a distant space. The bundle of joy between us would glow as bright as Jupiter sometimes, and I would hold the big red spot in my bare hands and feel the hurricane brushing against my skin. Tell me when the dreams we rode on shifted into galloping nightmares, their hooves trampling the long cobble street that I used to trace every night back to a place where even the deepest of scars won't shake the memory of that first time we lied together on that oceanless beach, where you told me, in the wake of our simultaneous stutters and twitches, you inspire me. Now, all I hear is the ghost of those words, birthing gale storms, birthing whirlpools, birthing premature goodbyes. I'm a flash camera with an empty battery compartment, a pair of shoes hanging on with all its might to the empty power lines above. The moth that flew too close to the heat of your heart and burst into a ball of flame, slowly sinking, and thinking of when I was a young girl at a new school, stuttering for 20 sweltering minutes, ego trampled to flat pancakes by the laughter of a dozen mocking school kids. I remember the day she said she would never speak nor sing. But she became me, and I met you, and you sang to me from a place that I could not see, and with your musical fingers, you untied the knot that had twisted my larynx shut for 19 years. Now the fire between us has now faded into smoke, drifting into a sky polluted by streetlight. But if I could guide your way back, like seaweed always floats its way back to shore, like blind moles never fail to find their way back home, would you walk with me? Would you listen to these words the same way I once did so intently to the rhythm of our hearts beating together? Is it snowing so hard inside your heart that you're numb to the brilliant summer outside? Now, all that lies between us is a thin gossamer thread. Pull too hard and all will sink. Don't pull at all, and we'll be lost at sea. Thank you.